Waycraft Industries open at 11 with no transportation. Riverdale closed. Ridgemont's on a 2-hour delay. North Union a 2-hour delay. Marysville a 2-hour delay. And Pioneer Career and Tech Center, they are closed. So, again, that's what we do have right up to date as far as closings and delays. Looks like some of the schools may stay on a 2-hour delay. Big Ten basketball last night. Michigan State beat Iowa 75-61, while Nebraska beat Rutgers 65-49. Women's basketball, Ohio State wins at Indiana 103-49. Top 25, number 6 Gonzaga, number 7 Arizona, number 25 Old Dominion win. High school girls basketball tonight going to be over at River Valley for the River Valley girls game against Fairbanks. We'll tip that one tonight about 7:30. Tomorrow night going to be over at Marion Harding for the boys game between Harding and Fairbanks. Tomorrow the Buckeyes Ohio State women play at Michigan. We'll have that for you, too. Pregame 1:45. Of course, the national championship on Monday night at 8:30. Pregame begins at 7 o'clock Monday evening. 14 minutes after 8 o'clock, when Amy came in this morning, she lives over in Cardington, and Terry Cole is in this morning, also lives over in Morrow County. Roads are, depending on where you're at, are iffy at times, but I guess there were several spin-outs just on Marion Williamsport Road off 23.
Yeah. And some of the roads are snow-covered, some partially snow-covered, but depending on how you're driving, they could be very slick.
Okay. In other words, slow down.
Definitely.
All right. We are celebrating basically 75 years this year, and made contact with a number of people. We're going to get them on the next month or two at various times. And we're going to have Charlie on last week, but a little under the weather, so we're going to try and get him on next week. But Terry Cole worked here in several capacities. Yeah. And Terry, welcome back to WMRN. It looks pretty much like it did when you left here.
Yeah, same color blue.
You said the chairs are more comfortable, though.
Yeah, the chairs are definitely more comfortable, at least here in this studio. I haven't been to the newsroom or anything else just yet. But.
All right. You started here when?
88.
And you left when?
I think it was 2007, somewhere in there.
So...
Or 2006, 2007, somewhere in there.
You were here a lot of years.
Yeah. Well, I know it was almost 20.
All right.
1920 somewhere.
When you started here, what kind of experience did you have? How did you get the job? And do you remember who hired you?
Yes. Now you want me to tell you who?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There was actually an ad in the Marion Star saying they needed somebody that had done news as a reporter. So I answered the ad, came over, and Dennis Garrigan was the news director at the time. And so I interviewed with him, and he recommended me, and then the program director at the time was Herb Palmer.
Boy, there's a name I had forgotten.
And so since he was the program director, he's the one that technically hired me, but I did all the interviewing and stuff with Dennis Garrigan.
Okay. And what was your job?
Well, it was part-time news, and basically what it was I would do the evening news and then go to all the different evening meetings and report on them, write up the stories.
So now when did you become full-time?
I'm not sure about what year it is, but it was when, about the time that Claire Campbell, who was doing Morning Magazine, and she also helped with the news, when she left to go to work at, I believe it was McCullough. And so I think that's about the time they bumped me up to full-time.
Okay. And when did you do Morning Magazine?
Well, that was off and on. Oh, goodness. I know we had several people in for a short time, and then can't tell you the years, but then I did it for, I think it was almost a year, and then they brought, and then Joe Suarez did Morning Magazine for a while, and
Were you here when Bill Lust was here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Bill did Morning Magazine for a
Right.
while.
Yeah. And then, of course, if there was somebody that was off sick or on vacation or something, then a lot of times I filled in. So it was just more like an off and on thing with me for Morning Magazine.
Were you ever news director?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
and that's when Dennis left?
Yeah, when Dennis Garrigan left. And then, let's see, Ben Failer came in, at a later time. And some people know and some people don't know that I've got rheumatoid arthritis, and it was really affecting me really bad at that time.
I remember some mornings where it was painful to watch you.
I'll bet, because it was painful for me to be here. But
because you have to be here like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
To make the news calls and check the wire and find out what was going on. And you didn't get started till about noon, where you really didn't start to feel good.
Right. So what happened then was Ben agreed to come in the mornings, and I was going to do the afternoon and nighttime, just about like when I started. But because we had Ben do the mornings, then they made him the news director, and which was fine. It's a title. That's all it is. And so, but
doesn't necessarily mean a pay increase.
No, it doesn't. But Ben and I worked close together. I was going to leave him out in the cold. Say something like, "Well, you're the news director, you do it." No, I wasn't going to do that. So Ben and I worked real close together, and that's how I became not the news director. Was I couldn't physically do it in the mornings, but I was fine in the afternoon and evenings.
People are wondering what you're doing now.
I'm driving for, the full title is the Morrow County Transportation Collaborative. And what it is, it's a county organization, but we don't use any county funds. All our money comes from Medicaid, Medicare, because most of our people we transport are in need that way with Medicare, and they need to get to doctor's appointments, or we don't do emergency runs, but whether if they need to go to a hospital, to a doctor that's there, or to doctor's appointments, we transport them. And then there's a program called JARC. Don't ask me what it stands for. It's JARC. But what we do there is people are employed, but say their car breaks down, or they've got to pay a fine before they can get their driver's license back. Well, they've got a goal to have their car fixed or get their license back, or whatever the case may be. We can transport them to their job until that event happens, where they paid their fine, or have got their car fixed so they can start driving themselves again. And it's just it's a short-term deal. Well, usually short-term, because sometimes what's wrong with the car takes a little while to get fixed. But so we're helping people that way, and it's just for Morrow County residents.
Now, will you take residents to, say, Columbus or Marion, or is it just in... okay, so it's not just confined to Morrow County.
No, we take people to Marion, Galleon, Mansfield, Mount Vernon, Columbus, of course, any place around Columbus. But I personally have taken people up to the Cleveland Clinic. I've taken people to Barberton, over to Bowling Green, and it wasn't me, but we did take somebody quite a few years ago down to Cincinnati. So we'll take them, as long as the trip's approved by Job and Family Services. We'll take them wherever they need to go.
All right. And no 4 o'clock trips in the morning.
Yes, there are.
Oh, there are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had to pick up a gentleman at 4 o'clock. This is part of the JARC program, because he had to be to work in Mansfield by 4:30. So there's where you're getting up at 2:30 in the morning to... So some things never change.
Yeah, okay. As you look back here, maybe one or two stories that kind of stick out in your mind, either good or bad?
Well, let's start with the bad, because I want to get that over with. There's two stories to me that were the worst. And that was a double murder-suicide here in Marion. And then the story where the 3 firefighters were trying to clear a car wreck and were electrocuted. And both of those were extremely hard to cover. You know, if sometimes there's things happen that you get jaded on something, and you want to start thinking, I don't care. Well, on those, you had to care, you know, and it sticks with you. You know? So, but on the good side, yeah, there's a lot of good that happened while I was working here. The building of new schools for River Valley and for the city of Marion, and being able to cover the groundbreaking, you know, for those 2 high schools, I thought that was great, you know, being able to do something like that.
So you were here then a lot during that River Valley, all the cancer stories,
Yeah.
and you covered that then.
Yeah, covered that, and it's that's a combination of sad and a happy story where, people were getting cancer, and that's the sad part. But the good part is that they found out what it was. They dug up all that stuff, you know, remediated it, you know, where that's just gone. I can never build houses or anything there. That's just cleaned up to commercial industrial standards. But at least that's taken care of. And River Valley got new schools out of it. So that's kind of a mixed bag, as it were.
You know, this morning, a prime example, you know, calls coming in, you know, they'll start coming in 4:30 or so. We'll get calls literally all morning long.
Right.
And then you get a lot of them on the 2-hour delay, and then about 7:45 to 8, that's when the schools have to make the call whether they're going to stay on a delay or go to the cancellations. We don't put delays or cancellations unless people actually contact us. I know with the Marion City Schools, you were talking with Paul over in the other studio, and he actually had gotten a text about 2 minutes before we got a call then from the city schools saying that the city schools were closed for today.
Right.
You know, 20 years ago, you didn't have people texting or getting on Facebook saying we're closed or we're on a 2-hour delay. That's how people got their information, was through us.
Right. Yeah, through us. You know, we had we eventually got our website where we could put it up there. We didn't even used to have that, you know, just, and a lot of times, well, like, I drive in the morning for the Tomorrow Center over there in Edison. It's the alternative school. Well, if Mount Gilead is closed, then they're closed. Or if Mount Gilead's on delay, they're on delay. So I've got to keep track of whether they're going to be open or not. So I've got several different ways I look up or get messages sent to me that whether the school's closed or just delayed. So,
you know, when you would cover city council or city hall, something like that, you know, you would actually go out, you would physically cover the story, you'd come back and write it. Of course, now, you know, basically Randy is, you know, kind of half morning magazine, half news person. We just don't have the coverage that, you know, we would like to get.
Right.
But that's true with radio stations all around the country. It's just it's a changing business.
Right. Well, when I worked here, they said, you're putting in